Many people face a common problem at work. If they speak politely, they feel ignored. If they speak firmly, they feel rude. In this video, you'll learn how to speak politely but firmly using professional English. Let's begin. So let's address the elephant in the room, okay? And the obvious question is why polite plus firm matters. At work, being polite does not mean being weak, okay? This is what you have to understand first. And being firm, it does not mean being rude, okay? So this professional communication is all about finding that balance, okay? Your words should sound respectful, but your message should be clear. Today, we'll learn phrases that help you set those boundaries without creating any conflicts. With this, let's begin. So, our first phrase, or I'll say the first situation, is about saying no politely. So, in our day to day working setup, what happens is a lot of people they're not able to say no, right? And not just saying no, it's about saying no professionally or politely, okay? So, what happens is a lot of people they simply say, no, I can't, okay? But there's this professional alternative to this, okay? Instead of saying, no, I can't, you should be saying, I won't be able to do this right now. Or you could say, this may not be possible at this moment. Okay, so you see this selection of phrases, it brings in that immediate impact. Okay, and the message is still clear, but the tone is calm. So that is the benefit the phrases bring in. Okay, let's move ahead. Our next phrase is about setting limits. So this is something all of us can relate to, right? All of us are busy with a lot of work in our offices, isn't it? Everybody has a lot of work and it keeps on increasing. Okay, so in such situations, we have to ensure that we should be setting some boundaries, right? We need some boundaries. And how do people respond with? They simply say, I have too much work. Okay, but that's not the best way of responding on your current situation about having too much work. Okay, instead, to sound more professional, you should be saying, I'm currently working on other priorities, or I need to reprioritize to take this up. Let's repeat. I'm currently working on other priorities, or I'll need to reprioritize to take this up. Okay. So these phrases they sound way more professional. Okay. And of course, these sound professional and not emotional, right? Because if you say I have too much work, it sounds emotional, and you don't want to be called as a personality, who is emotional in a working setup or a corporate setup. So you should be sounding professional, okay? And selection of these phrases makes you sound one. Moving ahead, our next phrase is about correcting someone. Okay, so it's again I'll say one of those classic situations that people deal with a lot. What happens is correcting correcting sorry correcting somebody directly. It can sound rude, okay, and we don't even realize that. So don't just say you're wrong. Okay, it sounds rude. Instead, what you can be using is what you should be using is I'll say there seems to be a misunderstanding, or let me clarify this point. So basically going ahead with this selection, these phrases, it keeps the conversation respectful. Okay, so don't just say you're wrong. Okay, use these phrases. Let's move ahead. Next phrase is about following up firmly, okay, on any ongoing task or activity. Okay, so basically understand that if you are following up on something, it's not rude. Okay, but there's a way of putting this out. Okay, this way of putting this in front. So don't just say I already told you. Okay, things like that. This sounds unprofessional. Okay, rather make a better selection and say just following up on this request, or as discussed earlier, this needs to be completed. Okay, so you still sound firm and polite at the same time, right? And you don't sound rude and unprofessional. So the key takeaway here is firm but professional, right, guys? If you have any doubts, you can put the questions in the comment section. I'll respond to that. Okay, with this, let's move ahead to our next phrase. It's about expressing your expectations. So what does this mean? You have to be basically, first of all, clear about your expectations. Okay, and if you want somebody to execute some task fast, right? If you want a response quicker or anything of that sort, okay, you should not be saying please do it fast. Okay, this sounds too much too casual, okay, and too unprofessional, right? So in any conversation, group conversation, meeting, okay, never use this casual phrase please do it fast, right? Instead, what you should be using is this needs to be completed by today, or I would appreciate this by end of day. EOD means end of day, right? So this basically, uh, with the usage of these phrases, you are still setting clear timelines, and basically you are imparting clarity to everybody, okay, involved in that conversation, right? So let's do a quick practice, and as I always say, just read it one by one, pause for a second, and absorb it. Okay, instead of saying no, you should be saying I won't be able to. To let others know you have too much work, say you are working on other priorities. To tell somebody they are wrong, say there seems to be some misunderstanding. If you want a fast reply on something, or if you want a clear response on the timeline of completion of something, you could simply say, we'll appreciate this by EOD, or we'll appreciate this in the next hour, right? Within the next hour. So that is how you can basically sound more professional. And again, you can sound polite but firm at the same time. Okay. So basically, people will take you seriously. So remember, professional English is calm English. Okay. You don't need to sound harsh to sound confident. It's really important, guys. That is the reason I'm re-emphasizing on it again and again. You don't need to sound harsh to sound confident. Clear words create respect. That's the mantra. If this video was helpful, you can subscribe to our channel. In the next video, we'll learn professional English for emails. Thank you.